Inuit communities rely on caribou populations for food, land, knowledge, and community, but a total hunting ban coupled with declining numbers is affecting communities deeply. David Borish worked on a documentary called Heard, Inuit Voices on Caribou, which focuses on the decline of caribou. Good morning to you. Good to have you in studio with us.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
What are the reasons behind the declining populations?
Yeah, that's the big question. And short answer is, I don't know, and I don't think very many people fully understand the ways of the caribou. But we do know through Indigenous knowledge and Western science that caribou populations cycle over periods of decades. And in Labrador, there have been some pretty dramatic cycles. Back in the 1950s, the George River caribou herd numbered somewhere around 20,000 animals. But by the 1990s, the same herd inclined and grew to a population of over 800,000 animals. But since then, since the 90s, it's declined by over 99%.
That is an unbelievable, David. When we think 99% decline of this George River herd, why is this such a problem for the community there?
Yeah, so it's a really big problem because Inuit in Labrador, as well as other Indigenous communities across Canada, have really, really close connections with caribou, not only because it's an important source of food, but it's an important source of culture, emotional well-being, connections to the land, connections to each other. And so this loss of caribou has not only disconnected them from this animal, but also disconnected them from these other aspects of their lives.
What made you so interested in this?
I've always been interested in conservation issues and the social aspects behind conservation issues. And so this was really just tying in all of my interests. And as a filmmaker, I came to this with that kind of visual background. And so this really just brought together all of my interests.
Let's talk about the film and the documentary. I mean, how complicated was it? We know what the last 2+ years have been like. So this has been a journey for you that has been, what, 4 years in the making?
Yeah, over 4 years.
Wow. So tell me about what it's been like to try to get this thing up and running over the last 4 years.
For sure. So I guess it all started because of the caribou population declines and a total hunting ban. Inuit across Labrador shared the need to document and amplify their perspectives relating to these declines. And so they felt that documentary film was a really important way of doing that. So Inuit community members, as well as members from the Nunatsiavut government, the Nunatsiavut Community Council, the Torngat Secretariat, came together to create this Inuit-led, research-based film. And I came into it because around 2016, I had worked on another documentary film about tigers in Malaysia, a completely different context. But I had that experience to work with Indigenous communities on this conservation issue. And so really that was the beginnings of actually filming and working on this project that became, the project that it is now.
Somebody sitting in Calgary, in Vancouver, Victoria, Halifax, Toronto, going, they are living in this urban center, looking at the picture behind us, listening to what you're saying. What do you say to those people about why this is so important?
I think it's important because we all know that environmental change, climate change is the challenge of our time. But in parallel with these environmental changes, there's also changes to the social and emotional and cultural landscapes, especially for people that are on the front lines of environmental change. And so this film is, yes, about caribou and Inuit in Labrador, but it's also about some of these deep-rooted cultural and social dimensions of environmental change that is being experienced by people all around the world.
David, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much.
All right, take care. Now let's send things over to Andrea and Rod.